that greed clouds the mind. They were so obsessed with greed, and there is no law which can check that. Government has given a lot of punishments. As a prosecutor, Buell, he has written a book, Capital Offenses, and the capital offenses of these crimes have been going up. But the crime is still going up because when greed takes over, you forget about the law, you don't see the consequences. And similarly, anger and lust, these are social evils. Our Gita calls them gates of hell because they ruin the society. And there's no law on earth which can prevent them. Because people don't think what the consequences are. Or the law is going to prevent that. So Kautilya pays a lot of attention to these kind of things, that check them, discipline them. People educate kids to have that kind of discipline to develop self-control. So it's a full book, takes all aspects of the whole society. Adam Smith was just focused on the invisible hand. Kautilya believed in both visible and invisible. That where the market functions well, allow the market to work. But where market can function, like moral hazard, market will not function. Asymmetric information, that's why we have the lemon law, it will not function. So there are a lot of places where market will not, or pollution. Kautilya had a law that if anybody throws a cow down on the road, there will be a fine. Panna used to be a silver coin at that time. Small pannas for throwing the dirt on the road at that time. So that's called externality. So pollution will not be adjusted. People will keep doing unwanted things. And these are not my ideas. Okay? These are those who are expert on industry. They are saying that they are really very vague, very inconsistent. And that's why a lot of people, they have a field day. You can say whatever you want to say about industry. Because there will be one line here and there which will convey that message. They take a line here and there, and they will just elaborate on that, bring their own imagination to that. So these are the people who have written books on them, and they didn't find anything really consistent or clear. On the other hand, Kautilya was very coherent and consistent. You may agree or disagree with his views, but it's very, very explicit, very clear. There are no two that I show in my book also, but these are, I'm quoting other people so that you don't think that I'm biased. Now, Schumpeter, he said that when you declare any subject a discipline, a science, and he has some tests, that did the person understand the interdependence among different elements of a system, economic system of a society. So he has a test for that. And again, she has written a thick book, and she says all kind of things. So there was Adam Smith. It will be too much to say that Adam Smith founded a science of economics. So these are experts, they're own experts. But after saying all that, they somehow find a way to get out of that. Okay. So if you read chapter 3 in my book, there's a lot more discussion. But my time is really very limited, so. Now, the division of labor. I published an article last year. Kautilya's Arthashastra, a recognizable source of wealth of nations. That's available on the web free. You can download that. Now, Adam Smith, he borrowed this idea from this French source. Yeah. an encyclopedia in French, and used that in his book. That was fine. And then later on, his friend Ferguson, he used the same example. And they were very good friends. Adam gets worried that how can you not acknowledge my contribution? Now, Ferguson was not a layman. He had everything he had read. And he said that I'm not borrowing anything from you. You borrowed from the same source, I'm borrowing from the same place too. Adam Smith was not in the habit of giving credit to anyone. This is one example. And there are paragraphs in my article you will find where the language is very similar to what Adam Smith had. So maybe he had some access to Arthashastra, quite possible, because we didn't have those kind of things like monopoly. Why monopoly is bad? Have you taken any economic course? Because there is a deadweight loss. There is a distortion in monopoly case. Now, Kotilla did not have that concept. Adam Smith did not have that concept. So Kotilla said it oppresses the people. That's why it's bad. And Adam Smith precisely uses the same language that it oppresses the people. Not any word different than that. And there are many other places, like canons of taxation. What Kotilla had, Adam Smith had. Sources of growth, that you have to have capital, you have to equipment, you have to have manpower, those kind of things. And Kotilla has the same things, 2,000 years earlier, and more. We'll come to that. Now this is what is the relevance for today's, today's example. Now, this part here, this I know and listen to all views, wise men faithfully, had keep to even sensible advice, even those of his child. That really got me all these publications, that advice. How did that help me? Because ego is the worst enemy of acquisition of knowledge. Because egoist person thinks that he knows it all. Never bothers to check with others, never consults anyone else. So that part really got me going. I wrote so many letters to so many economists, others, philosophers, and others, and not a single one declined my request. So I got a lot of help from a lot of people. This field was not my field. I didn't know how to write. So Professor Dr. Chandavarkar, he taught me how to write in this area. Then Adam Smith, one professor from Sydney, Australia, he said that, it's a very tall order. You're challenging Adam Smith. Of all the people, nobody has bothered him for 200 years. So you got to be careful. And he gave me a lot of advice, and I followed that through. And of course, one thing, Professor Timothy and Professor Solo, they have been all along whenever I needed their help, they were there. And chapter 6, it took me some time to figure out that Kotilla was founder of economics, but it was more than that. Chapter 6 explains that part, and that's really, I got a lot of help in chapter 6. Then you can call it Dharmanomics. Economics guided by ethics. I call that Dharmanomics. That was the hard part, and I got a lot of help from Sanskrit scholars, others, in writing chapter 6. So if you don't want to read anything else, please do read chapter 6, because that means Kotilla to Vedic culture before that. Some people may read parts of our Shastra, you'll never get a picture of what he was trying to do. So despise no one. And also, there's a very important concept here. In economics, we call that the bounded rationality. That one brain cannot solve all the problems. So our rationality is bounded. And Professor Simon got a Nobel Prize for that, for developing that concept. But this is here, right here. This is one predecessor of Kautilya who wrote this, and Kautilya is giving him credit. Now, these are all his Kautilya and his predecessors, ideas, some of them. But what is my contribution? My contribution is this one. That how to translate that so that people can connect today's tools of analysis to what Kautilya was or his predecessors were saying. Now, look at this picture here. Another bottom one. Now, if the CEO of a company or a president of a company, if they are ignorant, okay, so you start from here. And then as you get advice, sure, the probability of success will improve. But if the person in the White House or in other New Delhi, if they are smart, that gets added to the advice, the good advice in the beginning. Because this is pooling of information and knowledge. This is what we do in research nowadays. There is one chemist person, one from physics person, one from biochemistry, others, they combine together and produce some product. Because this is knowledge-based economy. That how you pull information and knowledge from different sources. I was one day talking to my daughter. She was working at the Whitehead Institute, doing some research. And I asked her, what kind of people work there? She said, Dad, there are all kinds of people. Well, what do you mean? He said, they're working on the body, and there's a plumber who's working there. Well, what a plumber is doing? He said, he's the best man to understand the drainage of the system. Now, this is called pooling of different experiences, different knowledge, different information. This is all knowledge-based economy now. And they are talking about that at that time. Now, there are two things. One is, when you consult people, this is what the predecessor said, that consult as many people as you want. But Kautilya said, no, you can't do that. If you talk to too many people, then somewhere on the chain, somebody will leak out the information. And the whole project will not succeed. So you got to have a trade-off between good advice, more people you consult, you get good advice, more, but at the same time you got to worry about how to keep it a secret. So there was a lot of discussion. Really, this is really high level discussion at that time. And Kautilya cites many authors at that time. That someone says consult everybody, someone says don't consult anybody, someone says have a hypothetical question and ask others, making it really not that serious a project, nobody will take it seriously. But Kautilya said that the optimum probability of success don't have more than 4 advisors. If you have more than 4 advisors, sooner or later things will leak out. Okay, this is what the Trump administration is facing. And I don't want to comment on that. You can imagine, it is an experience how that is hindering the process, the whole process. So it's very important, the CEO or the president of the country is a very knowledgeable person, very informed, and knows how to process information, not just right pace. And also, it's the same thing in India. I'm giving a lecture on March 3rd in Delhi on demonetization. Now, there were 8 people who were involved in the decision. And it's hard to believe that they did not leak out. And in fact, 2 people from the Reserve Bank, there were 8 people from the Reserve Bank. And 2 of them, they have compromised some of the things. So maybe they leaked out. Quite possible. So I'm doing this lecture on the 3rd. So this is totally knowledge-based economy, relevant to knowledge-based economy. Now Adams is really, he was talking about what we nowadays call Fordism, assembly type of division of labor. Okay, that's Ford, he made it very popular for his car manufacturing. And also he paid efficiency wages more than the market because there was high turnover. So he paid more than the market wage and there was less turnover. So this is one of the things which really Adams could not have even think about, but they were talking about this even before Patilla, and then Patilla provided mixed emphasis on that part. And is there a president or prime minister who really thinks only about the public? That what is good for the public, everything should think about good for himself, not anything just for himself should be for the public. So it was all people-centric approach. And who would have all kind of things? Chapter 7 in my book talks about that. The person has to be a wise and ethical legacy. Only that thing will follow this kind of thing. But any country nowadays, democratic country like India or United States, there is some conflict of interest built into the system. Like the president, who elects them? The Republicans and the Independents. So naturally you will worry more about them. Similarly in India, party in power, if the prime minister does not take care of the party will not take care of him, he will remove him, whether it's in the national interest or not. So some is already built into the system, in the democratic system. You should think about that, but still it's the best system. But some conflict of interest is in that. And of course, he was proactive.
There's about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
And I wanted to know, did you want to save time for questions or just...
I'll quickly go through that.
Okay.
So he was proactive, whether it was a famine in advance preparing for that, or a flood, or any disease, whatever it was, that prepared in advance. Because once the problem is there, there's not much you can do. And